Hello and welcome to Clearview News. We are reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. In the news, President Muhammadu Buhari launches micro-pension scheme to also cater for informal sector workers, promises restoration of dignity of retirees. Please stop any plan to increase value-added tax, VAT, APC national leader Bola Tinubu tells federal government. A car bomb explosion leaves at least 11 people dead at a luxury hotel in the Somali capital, Mogadishu. I am Prudence Okonna with the details of these and more. President Muhammadu Buhari says the dignity of public servants who worked tirelessly and sacrificed for the greatness of Nigeria will be restored, assuring that the federal government will fast-track the process of sanitizing the nation's pensions system. Speaking this Thursday in Abuja at the launch of micro-pension plan organized by the National Pension Commission, President Buhari said retired public servants deserved better treatment and effective service that meets their needs to carry on after retirement, promising to remove the rot within the pension system. The president noted that the federal government will continue to support the National Pension Commission to ensure a successful rollout of the micro-pension plan, which will capture citizens that are not fully captured in the formal corporate sector.
Great pleasure to be here today to formally launch the micro-pension plan. This initiative was designed specifically to capture those citizens that are not fully captured in the formal corporate sector. Today, millions of traders, farmers, and other entrepreneurs in various cottage industries are completely excluded from the different pension programs in existence. If you recall, one of the three core pillars of this government is the creation of a diversified and inclusive economy. This can only be achieved by creating an enabling environment for farmers, entrepreneurs, and same people in other professions.
In her remarks, the Acting Director General, National Pensions Commission, Aisha Dahir Umar, said the contributory pension scheme had recorded huge success since its launch in 2004 with the formation of long-term domestic capital. She explained that the micro-pension product is flexible with contribution amount and channel of remittance of contributions to respective pension accounts.
The micro-pension plan is designed to fit the peculiarities of all these informal groups. And it is able to fit the peculiarities of these informal groups because of the following features. First of all, it's flexible, it's seamless, it's transparent, and it's highly efficient. It's highly efficient because it's facilitated by technology in terms of contribution, remittance, and access to benefits. But the most beautiful part of the micro-pension plan is its safety. The plan is safe as it is supported by robust guidelines, robust and details, which the National Pension Commission developed in collaboration with all relevant stakeholders.
Dahir Omar, who described the micro-pension plan as remarkable, said Nigeria's pension assets as at January 2019 stands at 8.7 trillion naira. Also speaking, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, said the new scheme will provide more security for Nigerians in the informal sector and expand the country's pension coverage as well as boost the economy. He said the scheme is also beneficial to the government because of its potential to generate long-term funds that can drive economic development. National leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, on Thursday urged the federal government not to increase the value-added tax, VAT. He said an increase in VAT will reduce the spending capacity of the people and might increase hardship. Speaking on the 11th Bola Tinubu colloquium marking his 67th birthday at the International Conference Center, Abuja, Tinubu urged the federal government to rather consider increasing the tax net. Following the approval of 30,000 naira as minimum wage by the National Assembly, the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Udoma, and the Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Babatunde Fowler, had said the federal government is considering an upward review of the value-added tax by 50%. Both Udoma and Fowler, who stated this on Tuesday while appearing before the Senate Committee on Finance, said the increment will, among others, enable the federal government to fund the new national minimum wage. Fowler said the proposed payable VAT by Nigerians based on the increment would actually be between 6.75% and 7.25%. The government is currently charging 5% VAT on all products in the country. President Muhammadu Buhari has sent warm felicitations to the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, on his 67th birthday, which comes up on March 29th. The president described Asiwaju Tinubu as one of the strong pillars of Nigeria's democracy. The president, in a statement by his spokesperson, Femi Adesina, joined the APC family in celebrating the former governor of Lagos, who is also the Jagaban of Borgu Kingdom in Niger State, for his selflessness in serving his country and making life better for many. President Buhari acknowledged some of the sacrifices of the APC national leader, to include standing up against injustice in 1993 when the June 12 elections were annulled, a development that led to his self-political exile for many years and a protracted legal battle with the federal government when local government funds for Lagos State were withheld during the Obasanjo presidency. The president further affirmed that Asiwaju's uncompromising posture in the face of injustice and refusal to follow the path of least resistance for personal gain stand him out today as a rare breed and one of the cornerstones of Nigeria's democracy, especially with his track record of persistence, consistency, and effective leadership. He commended the visionary and inclusive leadership style that the Asiwaju provided for the commercial nerve center of Nigeria for 8 years, laying the foundation for a modern and technologically driven city and ensuring that every successive leader in the state sticks with the master plan of a greater Lagos. In the same vein, Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State has sent his warm felicitations to the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on his 67th birthday, describing him as a great leader and a quintessential kingmaker. Governor Bello, and on behalf of the government and the good people of Kogi State, joins members of Asiwaju's family and the APC in celebrating Jagaban of Borgu Kingdom for his uncommon wisdom, remarkable vision, and exemplary leadership, which is said has strengthened the nation's democracy. While rejoicing with family members, friends, political and business associates of the Jagaban on this rosy milestone, Governor Bello said Asiwaju Tinubu has led a remarkable life that is great in both accomplishments and years. The governor noted that the APC national leader has exhibited uncommon wisdom, remarkable vision, and exemplary leadership to deserve the greatest respect of all for the lives he has touched and the stability he has brought to the party. The Nigerian Natural Resource Center, in collaboration with the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NAITI, has officially launched Extractive360.com, a website that provides up-to-date reports on extractive industries in Nigeria. The website, which was launched in Abuja this Thursday, will be a platform for relevant stakeholders and the public to spearhead advocacy for reforms in the Nigerian extractive industries sector. Clearview TV's Ifeoluwa Ishola was there and now reports.
Extractive360.com is a Nigerian web-based publication. It is a resource center with factual, reliable, and up-to-date reports of extractive industry news in Nigeria and around the world. The website, which started in November 2017, was officially launched this Thursday, March 28th, to formally introduce the platform to relevant stakeholders and highlight fears about new online sites. The brain behind the website, Juliet Aloha, speaks on the vision of the E360.com.
Our objective is to help deepen the implementation of the transparency and accountability principles of the EITI and related frameworks being championed by other global extractive industries actors, such as the Natural Resource Charter in Nigeria, to, among others, shape conversations that could transform the way Nigeria's oil, gas, and mining sectors are managed. At Extractive 360, our vision is to help achieve a sustainable society through prudent management of Nigeria's extractive resources, with a mission to ensure prudence in the utilization of extractive resources through sustained information and advocacy.
Present at the event was the program coordinator of Nigerian Natural Resource Charter, Tengi George Ikoli, who called on the federal government to develop other natural resources from the nation's oil resource for future use.
Problem we as Nigerians must recognize and seek to address. We must take advantage of the resource while we still possess it and it retains some value. We should not still be engaging in debates about the reform of the petroleum sector when the world is moving on. Instead, we ought to be hurriedly deploying policies and implementing them to get as much as we can from the resource, shoring up our savings, diversifying into gas, and taking advantage of our 202 trillion cubic feet of gas reserves, ensuring that Niger Delta cleanup is ramped up so that my children, when God willing I have them, can return home and not ask us instead why we so callously destroyed their heritage. Nigeria is yet to scratch the surface as it pertains to her natural gas potential. We should be a gas nation instead of oil-producing nation, but over the years we have given precedence over crude oil to the detriment of natural gas, which is less lucrative and often produced as a byproduct of oil development as associated gas.
For the Director Legal Sector of the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NEITI, Peter Ogbone, 360.com is a complement of NEITI and all it represents.
The vision of Extractive360.com, which is to help achieve sustainable society through prudent management of Nigerian extractive resources, is at the heart of what NEITI represents and stands for. We hope that Extractive360.com will also meet our expectations by being a credible platform and tool that will assist in setting the agenda and to shape the conversation on natural resource governance issues and extractive industries reforms.
Informing and educating the public on how Nigerians' natural resources from different extractive industries are being managed and promoting accountability and transparency are all what the E360.com represents. Ifeoluwa Ishola, reporting for Clearview Television.
The African Center for Leadership Strategy and Development wants the Nigerian government to ensure stakeholders involved in the environmental cleanup of Ogoni land are carried along in all stages of the implementation of the exercise. The acting executive director of the center, Monday Osasa, made the plea in Abuja this Wednesday while addressing the media on achieving a healthy and sustainable environment in the oil-rich Niger Delta. Clearview TV's Ifeoluwa Ishola was there and now reports.
The Ogoni area in Rivers State has over the years been destroyed by oil leaks, leading to the destruction of its surrounding waters and farmlands. Following public outcry, both locally and internationally, the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project (HYPER) to clean up Ogoni land was flagged off, but full implementation of the report on the cleanup exercise remains a key challenge, despite several reassurances by the federal government. The African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development wants the federal government to be more open as promised during the flag-off of the implementation exercise in 2016. This the group believes the government can achieve by releasing funds meant for the cleanup project. Acting Executive Director of the Center, Monday Osasa, says doing so will be in the spirit of the next level, which is the mantra of the ruling party and the Buhari's administration.
The recommendation is that the government, through HYPREP and the Ministry of Environment, should publish the details of the companies and the sites handed to them to aid monitoring by NGOs, community-based organizations, and other interested parties who are following up and working on issues of the environment of the Niger Delta. Secondly, we want those two bodies to put in place as quickly as possible a communication plan to address the concern of dearth of information, because majority of the information that pertains to the cleanup are not in the public domain. In the light of the Open Government Partnership, OGP, the handlers of the cleanup, including Ministry of Environment and High Prep, should put disclosure mechanism in place with respect to terms agreed with reputation companies, their scope of work, and value of their respective contracts. We also want government to live by its pronouncements of genuine partnership and proper representation of the people at the grassroots by making sure all the stakeholders involved in both the emergency measures and cleanup are carried along in all the stages of the implementation of the cleanup. Government should tread with caution in the drafting of soldiers into the communities to provide security, but instead should, in the spirit of genuine partnership, involve the people as the best security that can ever be provided for any project in the community, and indeed anywhere else, is to fully involve the affected people in the implementation of the project.
The center also called on relevant stakeholders and civil society organizations to remain as catalysts in their approach to the actualization of the cleanup of Ogoniland and the entire Niger Delta, which is host to Nigerians' oil wealth. Ifeoluwa Ishola, reporting for Clearview Television.
Governor Seriake Dixon of Bayelsa State has inaugurated a 10-member commission of inquiry on environmental degradation to investigate the environmental, health, socio-economic, cultural and human damage caused by operations of both local and multinational oil companies in the state. It has the Archbishop of York, Dr. John Sentamu, as chairman, former President of Ghana, Dr. John Kufuor, Baroness Valerie Amos, Professor Ngombo Emese, Professor Roland Hodler, Professor Michael Watts, and Dr. Anna Zalik are members. Dr. Catherine Nwajia Kudahau is the secretary, while the state's former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Kemaswode Wadu, will serve as legal advisor. Inaugurating the commission, which has a 9-point terms of reference in Yanagwa, Governor Dixon urged the members to analyze the legislations governing the operations of multinational oil companies in Bayelsa State and Nigeria and come up with recommendations for a new legal framework that ensures accountability. He said though the state accounts for 40% of Nigeria's oil wealth and hosts the operations of all the major multinational oil companies, it had continued to suffer vast environmental and human damage despite her contribution to national growth. The governor argued that all companies operating in the state had for decades acted with impunity and little regard for the environment and people, causing multiple oil spills, leading to environmental degradation and loss of lives. He said the primary aim of setting up the commission is to prevail on oil companies to adopt best practices in the conduct of their operations in Bayelsa State as they would in Norway, Scotland, and the United States. On the dangers posed by oil spills, the governor cited the 2011 United Nations Environment Programme report, which indicated that life expectancy and we'll go on this break, and when we return, news continues.
Mo sọ fún ẹ lójoojúmọ́ pé gbogbo tó ń ṣe fún mi ọmọ á ṣe fún ẹ nílọ́po. Abiyamọ ayé, abiyamọ ọ̀run, wọ́n súre fún ìbàjẹ́ kéré ó tóbi kò ní kún ẹ́. Ọmọ òní ní kò gbé tí wá kò ń gẹjẹ. Ọmọ òní tí ẹ lọ síbi tó ò lérò. Ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ayé ẹ ò ní rí bi. Bí wọ́n bá ń pín wàhálà ìdààmú, o ò tiẹ̀ ní rówó rà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni, o ò ní kábàámọ̀. Èyí tó máa bá ṣe tó máa kó bá ìgbé ayé ẹ kò ní bẹ́ẹ̀ rìn, wọn náà ní bá rìn. Ọmọ adùn ẹnu, àbùkù ò ní kàn ẹ́ o. Ayé ò ní rí ẹ mú o. Mo sọ fún ẹni tinútinú tọkùtọkù. Lọ́lá ọyàn méjèèjì tó kù nígbà yà ni. Mo súre fún ẹ, eré àmú ẹ. Abiyamọ ayé, abiyamọ ọ̀run, wọ́n súre fún ẹ. Ó yẹ sáré gbé bàbá wọlé, ó ti ṣú ara, ó ti tọ́ ara, kò ní jẹ́ tiẹ̀. Wọnú ògo tuntun lọ Olúwaṣẹ́gun wọnú ògo tuntun lọ ó yá wọnú ògo tuntun lọ wọnú ògo tuntun ẹlẹ́dàá mi
mami airtime yín kọ́.
ṣé ìwọ ti rókun tó gbẹ̀rí o ti rí ọ̀sà kó gbẹ̀rí kò lè gbẹ́ bí.
àmímà.
àwọn olè ń sọ̀rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀
lórí àtàwọn ọ̀rẹ́ mi.
àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ ó yá fi sí spíkà.
wọ́n ń gbọ́ yín.
ní ẹ̀bùn ńlá tọ́mọ mi gbé wá fèmí yìí Ọlọ́run á ràn yín lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yin náà lè ṣerú ẹ̀ fáwọn.
ẹ ṣàmì mo tún ṣàdúrà.
Get 10 times your recharge value to call and browse anyhow. Recharge with *220 star the pin hash to enjoy this offer. Available to new and existing subscribers.
You're welcome back. And the Federal Executive Council, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, has approved contracts worth 4.26 billion naira, cutting across petroleum, investment program and information gadgets. Among the approvals are a 1.4 billion naira contract for the design of the headquarters of the Department of Petroleum Resources in Abuja, 1.56 billion naira to hire empowerment program consultants, and 1.3 billion naira for broadcast equipment and vehicles for the Nigerian Television Authority, News Agency of Nigeria, and Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. Briefing State House correspondents after the meeting, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ibe Kachoko, said the design contract was part of efforts to relocate the headquarters of DPR from Lagos to Abuja.
Projected potential cost for the building when it is done is about 35 billion. So if you look at that as a percentage of the work, it's absolutely insignificant, and in international terms will be very, very justifiable. It's less than 2%. The FCT did mention in our deliberations that because of the new zoning policies around FCT, the previous plan, which was to build a car park of under 5 floors along with the 12th floor, may have to change a little bit, because they're taking possession of some of the green areas that ordinarily were assigned to them, so they might have to just sort of elevate the building a bit more and have a lot more parking in situ within the building.
Also, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama, shed more light on the contract award for investment purposes.
Things that was addressed is in relation to the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, the GEEP program, which, as you know, is part of the government's social intervention program. And we got an approval from the Federal Executive Council to award a contract to a program management office consultant and systems provider for the Government Enterprise Empowerment Program, GEEP.
The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, in his briefing explained that the contracts for NTA, FRCN and NAN became imperative for the state-owned media houses to upgrade their broadcast equipment and procure vehicles to enhance their operations. Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria has appealed to President Muhammadu Buhari to make public health institutions in the country to work more effectively without crisis. President of the union, Belemoye Josiah, stated this while addressing the 10th National Quadrennial Delegates Conference of the Union, which opened in Abuja this Thursday. Clearview TV's Jeremiah Mahi tells us more.
The conference, which holds every 4 years, was last held in 2015 when the current president, Belemoye Josiah, took over the reign. This year's conference seemed to be an improvement from the last one, as members attended in their numbers, with sister unions from across Africa also present. The two-day conference is to enable delegates deliberate on key issues affecting the union and chart a way forward. Speaking at the event, NLC President Ayuba Waba says that the body is expecting President Muhammadu Buhari to assent to the National Minimum Wage Bill.
I am aware that the Minimum Wage Bill has been passed. In fact, a clean copy has been transmitted to Mr. President. We are expecting Mr. President to assent, and we will also expect that we will be able to benefit from it. It's important It's important. It's important. I say so from the context of the fact that it is long overdue. It is not only long overdue, what is even 30,000 in the current Nigerian economy? That is the reality of it. And therefore everybody must agree that workers have been patient, workers have demonstrated enough commitment, and therefore I think implementation at various levels should actually go seamlessly. But we are also there in the time of implementation. I assure you in our normal way, we'll also continue to support our state from one state to another until everything is done and everybody is able to benefit from it.
President Nigeria Health Workers Union, Biobelemoye Josiah, said that the union has made progress on all fronts in the last 4 years.
In recounting our modest achievements over the years, let me start by registering the fact that, in spite of the emergence of pockets of disagreements, we have largely succeeded in maintaining a high level of unity in the union. Comrade Waba handed over a once traumatized union left to the rubrics of the destructive sharp guillotine or the sledgehammer as the most viable union, a colossus that was the hub of attraction and a reference point for researchers who needed to study and learn from the miraculous activities of the union comparable only to the popular miracle of Dama.
On his part, General Secretary, Trade Union Congress West Africa, John Oda, challenged the delegates to ask its leadership to set up a fund to help children of displaced members of the union in the northeast.
I want to challenge the Delegates Conference of this great union that one of the things you should do is ask your leadership to set up a fund which will be used to rehabilitate the children of those workers that have been killed, the children of those workers that have been displaced, that have been maimed, and no longer can bring food to the table.
The quadrennial conference ends on Friday, March 29. Jeremiah Umahi, reporting for Clearview Television.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, and the federal government negotiation team have resumed negotiations on how to improve the nation's ivory towers for better performance. This is coming 6 weeks after ASU on February 8 suspended the strike it had declared on November 4, 2018, following the failure of government to meet its demands. Briefing newsmen after the resumed meeting, the chairman of the government team, Professor Wale Babalakin, said the discussions are positive with high hope for a final agreement. Professor Babalakin dismissed reports that the lecturers plan to return to the trenches if the government again fails to meet their demands. ASU President Professor Biodun Ogunyemi, who led the union's negotiation team, however, declined comments on the matter. Sources close to the meeting, however, said that one of the contentious issues is the Needs Assessment Intervention Fund, which the then administration of President Goodluck Jonathan committed to inject about 1.3 trillion naira over the period of 5 years. One of that agreed amount, only 20 billion naira, has been remitted to the designated account by the Buhari administration. President of ASU, Ogunyemi, had, in announcing the suspension of the strike in February, said, in addition to the 20 billion naira for 2018, the sum of 25 billion naira only would be released in April-May 2019, after which government would resume full implementation of the MOU of 2013. The federal government of Nigeria has inaugurated the National Strategic Plan tagged Village Level Operation and Maintenance to boost supply of potable water to rural dwellers. The Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, who inaugurated the strategic plan at a stakeholders' workshop on implementing the National Action Plan for the Revitalization of the Water and Sanitation and Hygiene (WASH) sector in Abuja, said it is meant to address the high prevalence of waterborne diseases in different parts of the country. Correspondent Aniete Patrick has more.
As Nigeria Nigeria is battling one of the largest outbreaks of cholera it has ever witnessed. Findings have revealed that 69 million Nigerians, or 1 in 3 representing 35.0% of the population, has no access to safe water, while less than 1 in 10 representing 9.2% of households drink safe water. These and other findings are from the 2016-2017 Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey (MICS) carried out by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) and the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency in collaboration with the United Nations Children's Fund (UNICEF). The national survey, which reveals the country's progress and lapses in key areas of development, also show that 2 out of every 3 households shows 64.1% use improved water sources, while a little more than 1/3 shows 35.9% used improved sanitation compared to 58.5% and 31% respectively in 2011. The village level operation and maintenance plan has been prepared as part of efforts to provide access to adequate and equitable supply of safe drinking water in rural areas. It is believed that this strategy will not only enable the government to put ownership of the facilities in the hands of communities, but have institutional arrangement for the adequate operation and maintenance.
Provision has been made for the establishment of a national wash fund to mobilize available resources in line with the estimated expenditure to provide water and sanitation for all by 2030. The fund will renew a federal-state partnership towards the credible pursuit of the Sustainable Development Goals and ensure that the federal government effectively guides, supports, and incentivizes state investments and reform efforts. The federal government is resolved and committed to vigorously pursuing the Sustainable Development Goal 6 and ensuring that we leave no one behind.
The Permanent Secretary, the Ministry of Water Resources, Comfort Ekaro, explains that the workshop is aimed at redefining the period of the emergency and firming up priority actions for its implementation. Ekaro said that the workshop would provide clear guidance and messages for the mobilization of the citizenry, the political and traditional leaderships on the action plan implementation. Also, the Director of Water Supply, Ajisigiri Benson, in his paper entitled Responding to the Wash Crisis in Nigeria, said that Nigeria's wash sector is in crisis, emphasizing the need for action to tackle the challenge.
Provide clear guidance and messages for the mobilization of the citizenry and the political and traditional leadership on its implementation. Lay a good foundation for the implementation of the action plan beyond the emergency period, and explore and recommend innovative funding and financing strategies.
Nigeria's wash sector is in critical conditions and requires immediate attention. Indicators for sanitation are not lagging behind, but also suggest that the subsector has been neglected and is in alarming state of dilapidation. Shortcomings in the wash sector are connected in part to deficiencies in the performance of the water agencies and poor infrastructure.
President Muhammadu Buhari had on November 8, 2018, declared a state of emergency on the water, sanitation and hygiene sector. As Nigerians await the next action, the workshop participants hope to erect platforms for the implementation of the action plan. Anita Patrick, reporting for Clearview Television.
A group within the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, which calls itself APC Youth's Grassroots for Change, this Tuesday in Abuja, paid a courtesy visit to the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Christian Pilgrimage Commission, Reverend Tor Uja. The group's visit was to appeal to the Commission to support its members with some concessions to embark on a pilgrimage to Israel. Correspondent Rose Aldu has the details.
the National Coordinator, APC Grassroots for Change, Olu Henry, while applauding the Commission's Executive Secretary for his selfless service to humanity since his assumption of office, tabled a number of requests to assist more youth to visit the Holy Land.
We appeal to you to assist these members who wish to commemorate their desire for the true piety with a visit to the Holy Land, but lack the resources to do so. Furthermore, being a grassroots-based organization has at this time, when there exists a strong goodwill of opposition against the re-election bid of our president in 2019, notice the absence of our dear president posters in most Nigerian villages and towns in the southern Nigeria. We would like to correct this abnormal by printing and using the poster of Mr. President alongside those of our gubernatorial candidates in the 6th geopolitical zone to organize political rallies in the zone. We therefore request your support to achieve this noble vision. Sir, we ask that you rest assured that we have the backing of the party and the State House in all we do.
Responding, the Executive Secretary, Reverend Uja, said youth as future leaders deserve all necessary support. He also advised them to conduct themselves properly and contribute their quota to national development. The Executive Secretary also called on Nigerian political leaders to invest more on the youth, women and the local communities to ensure rapid national growth.
We need a youth that will take over the terrain and do something, which is why it's important for our young people to come to Israel on pilgrimage and be part of our skills acquisition program. Because when you go to Israel, the economy is run by the youth. Everything is handled by young people. Actually, by the time you are 25, you are old enough to be disengaged from the services. So in police, in the army, in the different segments, you serve between the age of 13 and 25. And they are not serving as a job. They are serving as a duty to their nation. I want Nigerian youth to own Nigeria and to serve Nigeria and to possess Nigeria.
The youth group also presented an award to the Executive Secretary in recognition of his selfless service to the nation and humanity.
Very well.
Rose Audu, reporting for Clearview Television.
The youth wing of the Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) FCT chapter has also visited the Nigerian Christian Pilgrimage Commission in Abuja. The newly elected Executive Council of the chapter used the opportunity to interact with the Commission's Executive Secretary, Reverend Tor Oja, and top officials of the Commission. Again, Clearview TV's Rose Audu has the details.
Speaking during the courtesy visit, leader of the CAN Youth Wing in the Federal Capital Territory, Ambassador Emmanuel Macrock, said that the essence of the visit is to enable the newly elected leaders to acquaint themselves with the Commission's activities and on how to key into its vision.
In following the activities of the NCPC, and it will give us more joy if we are carried along more in all the activities, because I can remember the previous programs we've had, even that of the one that was organized at the Women's Center, the wonderful plans that were rolled out for the youth. So when we assume office, we say no, we are going to key into that vision, and that's basically why we're here, to present ourselves as a new ESCO, and also to say that we are ready to key into your vision.
Commenting on the youth leaders' visit, Reverend Uja commended them for loving Christ and charged them to keep their faith alive. He therefore urged the youth leaders to brace up to provide good leadership examples. Executive Secretary also disclosed the Commission's plan to host a quiz competition which is geared towards encouraging youth to uphold their faith in Christ. The winner he said will be sponsored by the commission to go on a pilgrimage to Israel.
I want you to know that in Christ, you are above and not below. You have a future and you are not hopeless. And you have a present standing that is commanded by God that nobody can take away. So don't diminish yourself on account of age or status or location or circumstances. Know that he that is in you is greater than he that is in the world. And as the Bible says, everything you see and you feel is temporary. But that which has been spoken and promised, that one is eternal. It can't die. Nobody can kill it. So I want you to brace up yourself to provide leadership and inspiration, both to the youth and to all others who are looking for hope in God and blessing in this country. We value what the youth can do. And we are not just planning what we will do for the youth. We are discussing what we can do with the youth, together with the youth. We believe that the greatest wealth of a nation is in its young people. And that if we are able to bring it out, then the nation will be the better for it.
The executive secretary further charged the youth to create an atmosphere of fellowship and bring people together and be good ambassadors of the gospel of Christ and serve as the pride of Nigeria. Rose Audu, reporting for Clearview Television.
Some yet-to-be-identified gunmen have attacked the Chairman Correspondence Chapel of the Nigeria Union of Journalists in Nasarawa State, Suleiman Abubakar, and abducted his wife, Yahanasu Abubakar. Said that the incident took place at about 7 p.m. local time along Gudi Garaku Road in Akwanga local government area of the state. According to him, the gunmen shot at the NUJ bus they were traveling in from Kefi, where his wife went to register at the National Youth Service Corps orientation camp. Abubakar said the bus ran into a ditch after being shot at. Then the gunmen swooped on them, took his wife and the wife of a former state assembly member, who they gave a lift, as well as 2 other women from another vehicle during the attack. Already, the police public relations officer in Nasarawa State, Samaila Usman, an assistant superintendent, said the command had mobilized officers to search and rescue the 4 abducted women. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has revoked the bail granted the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, and ordered the police to rearrest him. Justice Binta Nyako, who gave the order, based the court's decision on Kanu's consistent failure to appear in court after his bail was granted in April 2017. However, the judge ordered that the trial would continue in the absence of the IPOB leader and that a fresh date be given by parties so that the matter would continue. The IPOB leader was first arrested in October 2015 for demanding the separation of the southeast region and some parts of other nearby regions from Nigeria to form an independent Biafra state. He was later granted bail on April 25, 2017 on health grounds and asked to present 3 sureties, one of whom must be serving senator, a Jewish religious leader, and a highly respected person who must own a landed property in Abuja. The judge then warned the IPOB leader against granting press interviews, holding rallies, or being in a gathering of more than 10 persons while on bail. By September 2017, Kanu reportedly went missing when his Omahia family compound was invaded by men of the Nigerian army. The Nigerian government was accused of keeping the separatist group leader in captivity by Kanu's family members, but the government dismissed claims. He was later to be first seen again in public in Jerusalem on October 18, 2018. After that, Kanu said he left Nigeria because the court could not guarantee his safety. Since then, Kanu is yet to return to Nigeria. Remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Clearview TV, like us on Facebook via Clearview Television Online. You can also follow us at Twitter at Clearview Online. You can also follow us on Instagram at ClearviewTV_NG. You can also watch Clearview TV on night comes out with any free-to-air decoder. For details, contact your local installer.